understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, July 28th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And as I've been saying literally all summer long, this week we have one new episode and one retro pick. It doesn't change, folks. It's always the same.
For now.
I am dreading, not dreading, but like, this has been a nice summer break for me. Have you enjoyed the lighter watching schedule?
Yes, yeah. It has been nice, and it's going to get busy in the fall. And since all of the half season shows are coming in January, or the winter and spring, we're gonna get busy really fast.
Yes, we are.
But it's all for you guys. Thank you guys for listening. This is fun. If you haven't had a chance yet, subscribe. Please subscribe to whatever podcast app you're on. Subscribe, rate, and review us, especially if you have Apple Podcasts, because that's or Google Podcasts, because that's how they figure out. That's how other people, it's easier for them to find us if you have more ratings and reviews. So please help us out with that. This is an amateur operation, but
How dare you, sir?
But notoriety is always fun. We always want more people to get out there and get in on all the DC TV report fun. Yeah.
I was spreading the good news of the DC TV report at a funeral last weekend, actually. Oh, yes, I do have a podcast. It's on live action DC television. Let me tell you more in a more appropriate venue. Not here. Find me on Twitter. It was my finest hour or my worst lowest moment. It wasn't it was afterward, but
Hey, I've done that too. Did you have the business cards to give out?
Wait, we have business cards?
Oh, I gotta talk to Bill. Oh. we gotta send you a stack.
Sweeney, let me down. I'm sorry. Is me scribbling our web address on my actual work day job business card not what you had in mind?
we do have professionally made done up business cards. I will ask Bill to send you a set.
Well, my business cards aren't totally useless. I had to fight tooth and nail to get my large institution to include my Twitter handle on it. This was 5 or 6 years ago, and they didn't understand why. And that was when I was using it for business purposes. Now it's evolved into not that. It's mostly television and gifts of, well, this morning it's gifts of Kate McKinnon from Ghostbusters. So sorry, big institution that employs me. That's where my business cards send people. Here are pictures of my cats. Did you see iZombie? Let's talk.
There you go. And I think that's gonna lead us straight into Preacher, because we saw Preacher this week.
Because I've been talking a lot about that on Twitter too. So
yeah. All right, so you ready to kick it right off?
Absolutely.
All right, so Preacher, Season 3, Episode 5, The Coffin. After learning of Cassidy's escape, Grandma had TC and Jody chain Tulip to a radiator and trap Jesse in a coffin at the bottom of the lake. Herr Starr had to report to the Allfather on his progress preparing Humperdew to rule the world. Cassidy got his bearings in New Orleans, and booked a meetup with someone on a vampire dating app. Last minute reveal, Cassidy woke up to find himself captured by the Children of Blood.
And I'm disgusted at how good this episode was, how good this season has been. And this was episode 5, and we're halfway done, and I'm sad. I'm already missing this show.
How about we're halfway through the show and still no Hitler or Eugene?
Next week! Hold your horses, sir.
Yeah. Wow. Could you turn down your headphones?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Better? No.
Yes, better.
Okay.
But yeah. No, I enjoyed this episode. Sorry,
So
I'm
much.
mumbling.
That's how excited you were about it. You've lost your consonants, which is better than losing your continence, which I feel like is a thing Grandma probably struggles with. I don't know that for sure, but okay,
Yeah.
We'll keep going. We're going to push through that.
So this episode's titled "The Coffin," and
honestly, I've been looking forward to that since we saw the episode announcements these many moons ago, because it so directly reflects something from the comics. And so I had a pretty good guess what it was going to be about. I was right about the coffin portion of it. It was a genius deduction on my part that we would see the coffin, but it included so many other things that I didn't expect that were comics and comics adjacent. Ugh. Also, and that was a good ugh, not a bad ugh. Ugh, it was so good. Also, we learned something important, Ed. Skin suits are only good for one use.
Yes, this is true.
I feel like that needs to be written down somewhere.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I've been rewatching a lot of the Mission Impossible movies lately, and yeah, they take that mask off just once.
They really kind of stretch it in a way that you just can't. It's never going to be the same. And I don't think those are made of actual human skin. I don't know that for sure. What Tom Cruise does is Tom Cruise's business.
But they're incredibly convincing.
Almost as good as Drew Barrymore's LL Cool J mask from Charlie's Angels. Is it LL?
Oh.
Okay.
I don't.
From Charlie. You have your Mission Impossible references. I have my Charlie's Angels references.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. I just saw the first one, and that was a long time
That's the only
ago.
one you needed to see.
Okay.
It's fine. Okay, anyway. Preacher. So, that fight scene at the beginning was a delight. The tone, the humor, the action, the weirdness. Just pitch perfect. Preacher. Loved it.
Yeah, and I thought, Jesse taking on Jodie, that was, they were evenly matched, and the whole thing with TC and Tulip, I really like their chemistry here. I mean,
me too. Them fighting in a bathroom, just even the little details of the wet toilet brush like dripping. TC missing part of an eyebrow for the rest of the episode because she sprayed hair remover on his face. Oh, so funny. Never change show. So good.
Yeah.
But
and go ahead.
Well, and I continue to be impressed with the course correction for Tulip. I raved about this last week. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to rave about this every episode we do this summer. But, for a fist fight, of course she is. And she's so good this season. Their course corrected her in a way that makes her tough and feisty and a little vulnerable, but she's willing to listen. And she's so good. Yes.
Yeah. And I think, even here, the way Grandma gets the jump on her, basically by letting Tulip kill her, and to basically realize, like, no, there's no way getting out of this blood compact. Like, it's...
Yeah, you can't do it. Mm-hmm. Well, and I also like the beat of Tulip basically could have killed Grandma, but she wanted to check with Jesse first. I thought that also showed insight into her character and their relationship, and it was just a nice character moment. So again, better writing for her this season than I think we've ever seen.
Yeah. And back to Jesse in the coffin, just when you see all the carvings on the inside and you realize like how long he must have spent in there as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Again, it's a character moment that doesn't scream at you. Not again. I spent 18 weeks in there. No, it drops you in. It shows you. I liked. They kept that tense, even with the character having so little ability to move. There was a lot of action and suspense in the little movements he was doing. I don't know. I also know deep in my soul I am not smart enough to figure out a way to use cigarettes to blow my way out of a submerged coffin. So props to Jesse.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be much harder to get Bill Sweeney to quit smoking now. After he sees how
it might save my life.
Yeah. And
but he was just so cool under pressure. It was
it was great. And now and then with all of that, you had Hair Star running around, and I feel so bad for him now.
Why is that, Edward?
Well, I just like, you could tell like he sees the forest for the trees. Like he knows, like, I know how this is gonna work, and bringing Humperdew into the public spotlight is not going to be part of it. But because even he has a boss, he's got to kind of like grit his teeth and make it work. And we met his boss, the Allfather, this week.
Allfather. What'd you think?
Yeah, that was scary. That was, oh my God. And is that accurate to the comics?
It is. I've always found him to be a problematic character in that he's grotesque because of his size. And I mean, it's a comic where everybody's grotesque in some way, and it can be, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but it focuses on certain characteristics of some of its, especially side characters. But I've always found the Allfather kind of to be, that is the joke. And I don't always enjoy that, but very true to the comics, I thought. I will be curious to see how they continue to develop him. If anything, he's actually much more slender than in the comics. He's actually a much more physically fit man than in the comics. So he's been doing his cardio, which is great. But yeah, that character's, what I liked was seeing, as you said, I don't feel bad for Star because he's just such an odious person, but it does, I shouldn't say odious, cold and driven and single-minded and murderous. Oh, odious, okay. He has the pressures from the top with the unreasonable person. He has the idiot, the idiot underlings. Who knew Hoover played the electric organ so well? Who knew? But yeah, I mean, in that regard, it is fun to see the organization and to see what he's facing. I just want to know, why tap dance? Who had that idea? What? In what skill set does our Lord and Savior need to know how to do a shuffle off to Buffalo?
Well, I think they're trying to find something that he could do, period. And
literally anything.
Yes. He's not exactly graceful, so traditional dance probably isn't going to work. But, just tapping his feet around. Not to say that tap dance isn't work or graceful.
Tap dance is an art. How dare you? I took tap. I've done tap on stage in front of people. I have character shoes with tap on them. So, continue.
Yeah, I think it's just like we've got to throw something on here. And the kid can't stop watching Gene Kelly. So maybe we could put some of this to use.
But you're right. Hairstar's absolute knowledge of just how this is going to go over, but the inability to stop that runaway train. What are you going to do?
Yeah. And were you surprised that they were able to pick up Cassidy so quickly?
No, I feel like Cass is not particularly low profile. So no, I'm actually not. But I liked the very Cassidy-ish, absolutely incoherent, confused response to it. That felt very true. But no, I think we've seen the inner workings of the Grail. This week's episode showed us all of that, and in a way that okay, this is how big they are. This is who's pulling the strings. This is how far their reach is. This is how ruthless they are. Plus, tap dancing.
Yeah, and
we also got, I will say, Hairstar with the different hats. Kind of a nod to the comic, so that was fun. Those of you who've read it, I was a little sad we didn't get the montage of him trying on the hats, but him cycling through a couple this episode, a lot of fun. Also, I recently rewatched all of the Jack Ryan movies not set on a submarine, and Pip Torrens is in Patriot Games with hair, Hair, not Herr, homophone humor, and it was funny to see him as a government lackey.
Yeah, that must have been strange. That must be weird.
It was very weird. I'm sorry. You were starting to say something. Go ahead.
Well, my question is so which is more surprising, that vampires have their own dating app, or that a human would be able to access it and trick a vampire into dating them?
The latter. Easily the latter. There are dating sites for everyone now, aren't there?
I guess I don't date online very much.
I've been married for 500 years, so I don't know either. But I've seen farmer date ads on my TV. Maybe you don't get those where you are, but in the Midwest, we get ads for the online farmer-only dating service. I feel like if you've got that, you've got a vampire dating app somewhere.
Yeah.
There's probably a vampire farmer dating app. It's tough. It's hard to farm as a vampire, but they get it done.
Yeah, the most I ever get is Christian Mingle, but that's
oh
about
yeah.
But yeah. I mean, that was. I mean, it's funny, when you rewatch that scene to realize, when he asks her how long she's been a vampire, and she just makes up 200 years. And he, I feel like that's something where it's almost like a recovering alcoholic knows exactly how many days they've been sober. I feel like you would know exactly how long you've been a vampire.
218 cursed years and 3 weeks. I've been walking this earth. Yeah, every vampire's sad about it. So.
So yeah, and what did you think of the Children of Blood, and the fact that they were able to hold up against the Grail?
I loved it. I am looking forward to more of it. That is, it's going to be a fun subculture. It reminded me of we're recording in the morning. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Sorry, everybody. The sketch with Key and Peele. Ooh, the Key and Peele sketch with the vampire underworld coven thing that they're all a bunch of posers and super sexy. And it feels a little like that in a way that I'm excited to see how this particular show riffs on vampire subculture and how Cass is going to fit into that, what that looks like. So I am pleased for more of that.
Cool. And
also, there was a character who helped Cass at one point who clearly should have been Seth Rogen. Clearly was cast because Seth Rogen was going to do a quick little cameo and then couldn't fly into town for it. And so they had to find the best Seth Rogen approximate they could. Did you pick up on that as well?
Are you talking about the guy who gave him the tranquilizer in the first scene that he was in?
Obviously,
yeah,
that was written for Seth Rogen.
Okay.
This is where you tell me that was Seth Rogen and was just under pounds of makeup and I didn't recognize him. I mean, that's how much I was like, oh, that's Seth Rogen.
Oh, wow. I didn't really pick up on that.
Maybe it was just me. I don't know.
I don't know. No, I believe you. So yeah, so are we going to get Hitler and Eugene next week? Are we going to see the Saint of Killers try to take them out?
I that was on the previews. I actually caught that much of the previews. So yes, you're going to get your wish.
Okay. All right. So.
Oh wait, no. Whoa, we cannot blow past John Wayne. John Wayne. John Wayne.
That's right.
Huge comic book moment. Yeah, that's been missing, and that's been speculation since the show was announced. Are they going to do John Wayne? The timing of Jesse's hero worship of him doesn't really work out so much in 2018, and yet it's John Wayne. Can you get the rights for it? And they did, and it was a weird dream sequence, but I will take it. So yeah, no, we have to mention how cool that was to see play out, and how I don't know, Jesse's gunslinger dreams. That was a lot of fun. But I will subtract points because they made us watch Grandma eat the fingernails again. Ugh. I never wanted to see that again. Also, things I never want to see: Civil War sex play. No. Grandma and TC, shut it down.
I mean...
Oh, and last... Okay, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta distract themselves somehow. I mean, there's only so much to do. It doesn't seem like they have TV.
Like they wouldn't get... I bet their Wi-Fi signal is real bad at Angelville. Like, you're not going to be able to stream Netflix there. So, you got to do something. That's true. Last thing, two things I really loved. Tourist Featherstone is my favorite Featherstone disguise. That wig, the t-shirt, and I have to say, when Jody threatens to go after Tulip's soul for Grandma, and Jesse says, "Dare you to try?" Flat out the sexiest Jesse Custer's ever been on this show. You don't have to chime in on that, Ed. Just trust me on it.
Okay.
I like it when you take my word for things. Okay.
And who says John Wayne can't be your hero in 2018?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was me being too rigidly minded. But if you think about it, it was set in the 90s, so Jesse would have been born in the 70s, so he had a dad born in the 50s. It kind of makes sense that you'd inherit that from your dad. But, you know, John Wayne transcends generations.
Hey, I remember growing up in the 90s when AMC actually showed American movie classics. And just watching John Wayne marathons over and over and over again. You know, you pick up a lot watching Stagecoach and Rio Bravo.
It's why Ed wears a poncho everywhere he goes.
Yeah, True Grit.
A serape? Yeah.
The Shootist.
Spurs. It's why Ed always wears Spurs. You never know. Yet
somehow they never showed The Conqueror. That's the one where he plays Genghis Khan. Turner Classic will put that on like every once in a while, and they just want to show like that you think people are racist now.
You've come a long way, baby.
You want to see whitewashing? This is whitewashing.
It's a double feature with that and Breakfast at Tiffany's. Go.
All right.
So yeah, hopefully this coming week you will finally get your Eugene and Hitler, and we can talk about that because they have been missed.
Awesome.
Maybe not so much Hitler.
Maybe. We'll see.
I mean, we'll see.
All right. You ready to move into the news?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so I feel like a lot of this news was information gleaned at San Diego Comic-Con that then reporters just sort of needed to take a long nap, like sleep for 36 hours, and then start cranking out the stories. So we have a lot of interviews with the cast and things like that, little tidbits here and there. So diving right in, let's start with Arrow. Oliver and Diggle apparently will have repaired their relationship by the time this new season starts. They're going to be bros. Oliver will be getting Diggle visits in prison. So that's nice. I don't like it when the boys fight. That's good.
Yeah, that's nice.
And Colton Haynes, of course, who plays Roy, said that when Greg Berlanti approached him with Roy's storyline for this upcoming season, it was too spectacular to turn down, and it's going to shock people.
Oh, Thea's dead.
Don't. That breaks my heart. Never. Why?
They had that incredible episode last season where, like, okay, this is the goodbye. And what, he's just going to leave her to go back for another go round?
I mean, it really, I'm with you. I feel like the only reason you'd come back if you're Roy after that amazing goodbye is Thea's dead. But you get this amazing send-off, and then Poochie died on her way back to her home planet. Like, I don't see that being Thea's end. So I'm hoping for kidnap, amnesia, something other than Thea's dead, because Thea's dead would be deeply unsatisfying for me.
So you think he's either being blackmailed or he needs help reopening the black hole she falls into?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Thea's trapped in the Phantom Zone.
Okay.
We need help. Yeah. So, let's see. Moving on to The Flash. We've got a ton of stuff about The Flash this week. So the theme for this upcoming season is legacy. For example, will Barry be a good dad or a good superhero? Let's see. Nora, his daughter from the future, is going to have some tension with Iris for reasons that we don't understand, but presumably will come to understand as the season unfolds. She'll look to Barry as a mentor for time travel and things, which, oh, honey, no.
Well, you know what that means, right?
That the timeline is screwed always.
No, why she's kind of clashing with Iris and really trying to warm up to Barry.
I'm scared to ask, but why?
Well, no, I think it's pretty obvious that, like, she clashes with Iris in the past because she clashes with her in the future.
Oh, well, yeah.
And she's really looking to Barry to be a mentor because she doesn't really know him in the future.
Is that because he's... What are you saying, Ed?
I'm saying that Barry may not be around for a lot of Nora's childhood.
Is it possible she blames Iris?
Maybe.
Huh. Is this comics? No. You know what? I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I'm getting really mean today.
You are, man. This is a dark side of you.
I like Hairstar. I'm saying Thea's dead.
Ed, eat a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're hungry. Okay, so Cicada, the new villain, is going to be a different kind of villain. The Flash says this every season. It's a different kind of villain for Barry to fight. But, he's a physical villain, but he's not a speedster. So I guess that's a different kind of villain for Barry to fight. I'm still mind blown that it's going to be Chris Klein. I cannot wait to see the career resurrection of Chris Klein. Bring it. Wally, who is leaving the Arrowverse, or the CWverse, is going to have a small but important role on The Flash this season. And they did interviews at Comic-Con talking about how much they'll miss him and things like that, which, I mean, I guess I believe, but he hasn't been on the show for so long that, like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to get more Harrison Wells's new versions. I cannot wait to see what wigs and accents Tom Cavanaugh is working on right now. We're going to see more of Ralph being a detective.
Okay.
We are going to see Ralph and Cisco as single guys on the town. Two wild and crazy guys. One little thing I thought was interesting, Danielle Panabaker, who plays Caitlin, shut down the idea of having her in a relationship with Ralph last season. She did not, Caitlin does not need to date every guy who strolls through the lab. Like, that is not necessary. That kind of had been happening. So she shut that down. And I take it you are a fan of that, Ed?
Yes. Well, more so just because Ralph is supposed to end up with Sue. So
is he allowed some diversions before? Like, is he allowed to date and fail or date and be a train wreck first before Sue comes along? And
yes, but if he dates Caitlin, then we will want them to stay together.
That's true, because Caitlin is I like Caitlin. Caitlin is underused and underserved. Speaking of, we're going to see some more bonding between Caitlin and Killer Frost. That's going to be a major part of next season, apparently. So she really likes the bonding that those two have done. So that's going to continue to be developed. Yeah. Candace Patton, who plays Iris, pitched an idea for a Halloween episode where everybody, including the villains, are dressed as the Flash. And it leads to chaos and confusion. And I think that sounds delightful. So, writers, if you're listening, give us a Flash costume Halloween episode.
I feel like she said that at the comics. Is like, hey, I pitched this idea and they said no, but I'm throwing this out here because, like, hey, I don't think it's a good idea.
And I'm sure the writers were like, oh, we already said no, and now we're going to have to hear about it from podcasts. Ugh.
We already shot the Halloween episode this year. God damn it.
Okay, last thing about The Flash. Grant Gustin said that the premiere has an action sequence that he is super excited about. It's from the comics. He's been wanting to do it for years, but he never thought they could pull it off from a technical aspect.
Ooh.
And I will say, I think The Flash is really known more than any of the other CW shows for taking some of those iconic scenes from the comics. Isn't that the show that does that the best?
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There are a lot. Most notably, I would say season 2, when you had the Flash of Two Worlds, you actually had them walk up to the guy between the two, separated by the wall. Like, that shot is like so.
Oh, yeah.
That was so iconic.
My husband ordered me to pause the DVR right there, like mid-watch. We didn't even finish the episode first, so he could pull up the cover to show me this is what they're doing. This is so cool. So yeah, yeah. So I'm glad. I'm glad Flash is continuing that. Do you have thoughts about what spectacular action sequence might be hard to pull off technically, but still doable?
I don't know. This is one case where like I wish I read more Flash comics. I can't think of anything specific, no, but I'm sure like once it happens, it'll hit him. You'll
be like, oh yes. Okay, that's it for the Flash. Any other thoughts there?
No, I think that's good. All right.
Okay, let's do some Supergirl. So this coming season, the theme will be, what is stronger, hope or fear? So, the episode titles, the first 4 episodes are The American Alien, Fallout, Man of Steel, and Ahimsa. Ahimsa, for those who are wondering, according to the Google machine, is Sanskrit for compassion or do no harm, which feels very on brand with Supergirl.
Yes.
So that's what Ahimsa is. But Man of Steel, are we going to see Tyler Hoechlin's Superman again, do you think?
Maybe. Or will we meet John Henry Irons? Has there been any talk of that?
I don't know what those words are.
John Henry Irons is also known as Steel in the comics. He actually creates a suit of steel to honor Superman after his death, and he becomes a hero later on. Had his own comics. Shaquille O'Neal played him in a very, very terrible movie that no one remembers in the late 90s that had no reference to Superman, which is probably why it failed.
Is this going to be some off-season watch for us for the podcast someday?
No, it won't be. No.
Not even to be funny?
No. No, I do not.
Good enough. Wow. Okay. That was definitive. So anyway, so Man of Steel. One suggestion I saw was that it could be the new villain as Man of Steel. I don't know that character is particularly associated with steel, but that was one of the suggestions in the article. One of the articles I read on this.
Okay.
Let's see. Other things about the season. Melissa Benoist says this last season was a little bit Buffy the Vampire Slayer-ish with fantasy and witchcraft and fire and brimstone. She said this season is going to be a lot more grounded in real-world problems. She said Kara herself is going to fight for the rights of a free press. She said she's going to be mentoring, the new character Nia, like Kat mentored Kara back in the day, which... If we'd seen Kara at Catco ever this past season, I'd be a little more interested in that. But mentor her how? And being terrible and absent at your job all the time? Like that's yeah. But apparently they're gonna be a lot of scenes. In fact, most of Nia is the new transgender character that they just cast and announced. Most of those scenes are gonna be as Kara and not Supergirl, and they're gonna be at Catco. So it looks like we're gonna really have more of a focus on that, which I guess makes sense. I mean, you had the human alien tension and she was choosing alien, so maybe this coming season more human.
Yeah, and I think that's also a step in the right direction, because I feel like she basically we didn't see her use her secret identity at all last season.
And that's part of the charm of the show. part of the charm of the show is, did she just fly up through the elevator and left a pile of Kara clothes behind and nobody noticed? That's the charm of the show. We just didn't get that.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm really pleased. I hope they do a better job of dividing their time. And it sounds like they will. Let's see, other things. Kara and Alex will butt heads, with Alex at the head of the DEO on occasion. They'll butt heads on occasion. Alex is not DEO on occasion.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I would say. Brainy is going to struggle with socialization in 21st century Earth. That should be fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Melissa Benoist says the Red Sun riff that the show is doing is going to be a slow burn story about nature versus nurture.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how much nurturing you can actually do if her doppelganger landed in real time, though. It seems to me that it's only going to be, unless they do a major time jump, not that much time for nurture, right?
Well, it depends on what angle they go at, because it's obviously going to be very different from the book, because the book is like,
sure,
the book is like there's only one Superman and he landed in Russia. So, and it starts in the 50s and goes through the whole Cold War. So the fact that they're doing it here, that there are two Supergirls, just tells me that it's just going to be more of a clash of ideals, and I'm not sure if it's clear like how long she's been there. If she like just landed in Russia.
I thought the finale showed that she landed in Russia in the same time frame in which the finale events took place. I swear I thought she was landing on the same day. So
I feel like that too, but it's I don't know. I don't really want to make a speculation here, because I don't feel like we have enough information yet.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And if they're going to do the Red Sun storyline, they're going to have to do something to have that she grew up, or she came of age, or she learned to be in a different setting, and you have to devote time to that. Anyway, you're right. We don't have enough to speculate on. I hope it's good. I guess that's my deal. I hope it's good. Okay, so a couple things about Batwoman. We're going to talk a little more about Batwoman in a little bit here, but asked about Batwoman, Benoist said that she thinks Alex and Kara would be all about Batwoman because she encourages, strong women, female superheroes, things like that the characters would. She also said that she thought Kara would worry about Kate Kane because she's a human fighting crime like that, and Kara would worry that she could get hurt. So, just I think it's, we'll talk about this with Batwoman, but I think the CW is going all in on Batwoman.
Yeah.
Last little thing, a leaked set photo from a Supergirl episode for next season shows a carnival, and one of the prizes at one of the games looks to be a stuffed Bebo.
Bebo!
So, Bebo Easter eggs. Love it. Speaking of Bebo, shall we move to Legends of Tomorrow?
Let's.
All right. So Katie Lutz did an interview at Comic-Con, and she said Sarah's main issue this season, she's building a life with meaning after years of, we've seen it all, guilt and aimlessness and anger and blood rage and all that. But by doing that, she now has something to lose. And so that will change the stakes for her in this upcoming season. And the second piece of news for Legends is my favorite piece of news of the week. And that is that executive producer Phil Klemmer wants to kind of move away from CGI bad guys this coming season and do old school 1980s style Sam Raimi horror effects. Oh my God, yes. I'm so excited.
I am totally up for this. I always feel like practical effects hold up over time much better than CG effects. And I've also grown. I've become a huge fan of like Ash vs. Evil Dead and Stand Against Evil, which all use practical effects. So if you get that, like,
go through so many gallons of fake blood every week, it's amazing.
Yeah, and so yeah, if we're gonna get like horror comedy with practical effects like that, I think it could be really cool.
And my heart is gladdened by Sam Raimi, by the Sam Raimi reference, because that's the king of horror comedy. And if you're using that as your touchstone,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I defy anyone to watch that transformation scene in American Werewolf in London and not tell me it's perfect and brilliant and better than any of the CGI werewolf monsters we've been given over the last 20 years.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Raimi forever. Okay. Black Lightning. This was a fun little video on TV Line where the whole cast was interviewed as a group. And so there was a lot of joking, and some of it is speculation, some of it is maybe a little bit of information. But the cast said they're predicting that Detective Henderson is actually going to find out Jefferson's secret identity this season. I don't know if that means they have read the script and are saying, oh, maybe so, wink, wink, or if they're just saying we'd like for that to happen. I don't know. What do you think, Ed? Would Henderson being in on the secret be something you would welcome at this point, or is it too soon?
I mean, I'm always going to think that's too soon. I usually think the more people that find out about a secret identity, the less, important that secret identity is. But like at a certain point in the story, I do get like, eventually it doesn't make sense for him to not know.
Yeah, you can't have your detective being stupid.
Yeah, but I hope they hold that off as long as they can.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see, other things. The contents of the briefcase that Ed, you and I discussed last week apparently are going to make Tobias even more maniacal in season 2.
Okay.
And if you seek this out on TV Line, you'll find Gamby's tailor skills being debated because that dude never had clients. How does the whole town not know it's a front? Because he's never making pants for anybody. And the actor defends Gamby's skills hotly. He did a prom once. He did a tux for a prom. So it's I kind of like watching casts interact like that. It's fun to see how they all riff and tease, and obviously they know they're in the public eye and they have to put on a good show, but that looked like a fun cast, and I enjoyed all that back and forth. So,
hey man, poor James Remar. You gave him all that corny white guy dialogue for him to say throughout the whole season. At least you could do is give him a couple.
The best he could.
At least you could do is give him some clients.
Give him a wedding party to outfit. Come on. All right, moving on, as mentioned, to Batwoman.
Batwoman music.
So we have a tease trailer for the crossover coming in December from the CW's Arrowverse shows. And Batwoman really is at the center of it. So we have a lot of footage of characters from past seasons doing heroic things. We see some of their comic book counterparts. And then at the end, and really, really featured, is Batwoman. We see her in the comics. We see her logo. It really looks like, I know the show hasn't been actually ordered to series yet, but as big a push as they're making with this, I'd be shocked if it didn't make it to series. But, I mean, this is just for the crossover, and that for sure is confirmed. But Batwoman is everywhere on that trailer.
Yeah.
Touting the heroes and villains.
I mean, it's not over, and we don't know for sure until they give it the green light. But this is definitely a step in the right direction. It does seem.
Yeah, I think so.
It does seem like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, they just seem really all in on it, and I don't know what the internet reaction has been in every corner, but there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of excitement about the Bat universe joining the CW shows. Also, in the least surprising news of the week, Kevin Smith says he would like to direct an episode of Batwoman if and when the time comes.
Cool.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, transitioning to non-CW shows. We have a little news for Krypton. And that is that Season 2 is going to have a time jump, a 4 or 5 month time jump. And that's going to be enough time for Zod and his knowledge of the future to radically change the world that we saw on the show in Season 1. So his origin will play into how that society has changed.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. There was also an interview with Sean Sipos, who plays Adam Strange. There was a moment in Season 1 where his gaze lingered on a male soldier, and he confirms that, that sexual fluidity, that bisexuality is canon in the show. They did that on purpose to show that, you're a time traveler. It's part of sort of being someone who moves about the universe in different eras and places. But he also emphasized that they may not actually explore that in the show on screen, and Alana remains the love of Adam Strange's life. Is Alana and Adam Strange kind of like your Ralph and Sue, Ed? Is that a similar kind of relationship?
Yeah. I mean, maybe even more so because it's, I mean, it's the adventurer and his princess, so like
Aw.
they're really like in a fairy tale way, they're even more destined to be. So it kind of feels weird that they'd even mention that, but as long as he's supposed to be with Alana at the end, I think that's I'm okay with that.
And I got the sense that he definitely, if he was typing, it would have been all caps. Alana is my end goal. So, end game is Alana.
Yeah.
But anyway, also, as I told Ed off air, we talked about Lobo joining the show last week, and I went down a real Lobo rabbit hole. So the more I read about that character, the more excited I am to see literally anything about casting or information about that character.
Yeah. I mean,
he has space dolphin friends. Space dolphins.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He was hired to kill Santa Claus. I'm just reading like his wiki entry, but what?
I mean, he's probably the only person who'd be able to pull that off without remorse. Let's be honest here.
What, murdering Santa Claus?
Yes.
Actually, would murder Santa Claus without remorse is a really good shorthand for telling me about a character. That actually really works. Thank you. All right, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Let's go to Gotham. We actually have some information about Gotham, starting with a photo from the set of Babs with a new haircut. It is terrible.
Yeah, I saw this.
Babs.
I feel like every actress, there comes a point in their career where they try the shortcut, which, I always feel like, like, do you want to look like a 12-year-old boy? And it never really works for me. I just like, ugh, no.
Well, the pixie cut, like Audrey Hepburn, she worked a pixie cut. But not every woman is Audrey Hepburn. And I think the actress herself is gorgeous. The cut itself is not. It looks kind of stiff with product. I don't want to turn this into the hair and makeup portion of the podcast, but it's unfortunate, and it looks like maybe she made a cruel offhand comment to the head of hair for the show. Not the head of hair, like the person in charge of hair. I realize head of hair.
Yeah.
And that person was like, "Oh, really? You think so?" Scissors. Now it's bad. It's bad, is what I'm saying. Another photo from the set shows what looks like the return of the Court of Owls.
Ooh, more owls.
Which every time I see that, I'm disappointed that it's not a literal court of owls. Ooh, owls. People in masks. Let's see. We have other interviews. Selena's near-death experience is going to push her farther away from Bruce as she's fighting her way out of her hospital bed. So it sounds like her rehab and recovery is going to be a difficult road, and it is what's going to maybe push her on the path toward Catwoman-ry. Catwoman-ry? I like it. I'm gonna go with that. Catwoman-ry.
All right.
And, of course, this being a Gotham segment, we can't not mention the Joker, but the showrunners said that the final season will definitely feature an epic Bruce and Jeremiah showdown. So don't worry, Joker will be there. Don't worry, everybody. Gotham's going to give you Joker. I know you were concerned. They really haven't done much with the Joker. Joker will be there.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah. All right, fine. All right. Yeah, all right. Yeah. First of all, the news would be if there wasn't going to be a Bruce Jeremiah showdown, but okay.
Seriously. I feel like there's a Bruce Jeremiah showdown every week.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to tell us that. Come on.
Moving on.
The last thing I thought was pretty funny here is David Mazouz, who of course plays Bruce, has a message for Robin from the Titans trailer, and that is, respect your elders.
Good for him.
I know. So speaking of Titans, shall we transition?
Titans music.
So it looks like when the DC universe goes live, all 13 episodes of Titans will drop at once. So they're going to do it Netflix style rather than Hulu style.
Okay, I can see this is going to be a heated discussion we're going to have off air about how we're going to handle this.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'd be interested to hear what you listeners would like. Do you want us to do chunks? Do you want us to do one 5-hour long podcast? Please don't vote for that. Do you want one episode at a time? Like what's your listening preference? I'd be really curious.
Yeah.
What people would like to see.
Yeah, like if we do them one a week, like is that going to be weird?
That feels this is an off-air conversation, but nobody watches them one a week. I just feel like if we're 3 months into it and still talking about episode 9, people are like, that is as distant to me as the sacking of Rome.
I also think it depends on when it drops, because if it's dropping in October and we already have five other shows going, I don't know.
Yeah, ideally it drops early in September before the network shows are really rolling, and it'll be pretty much the only thing on our plate. That would be a lot of fun. So DC Universe, if you're listening, please accommodate our schedule.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen though.
No, I don't know. I think if DC Universe were smart, they would try to get out ahead a little bit of the big premieres. So you do have like back to school, done vacationing, kind of ready to settle into the routines again. Network TV isn't quite up and running yet. What am I going to do with my time? Oh, bam, DC Universe. That would be how I would program it if I were a network executive, which I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple other Titans things. The San Diego Comic-Con display had Titan costumes actually out for people to see. And so if you saw some social media posts about that, I think you got a slightly better look, a more static look at the costumes rather than they're on the actors in the trailer, for example. Mm-hmm. So Ed, did you check those out? How'd they look to you?
Yeah, they looked fine. I mean, the Starfire costume, it is difficult, but I'm not sure what else I would have done with that, because her costume in the comics is very revealing and just impractical, to be honest, if you're going to try to do that straight up in real life. So, I guess what they've done is kind of like a happy medium, but I don't know, just something doesn't feel right about it. But I mean, the Robin and the Beast Boy and everything else I liked. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. So her costume actually defies the laws of gravity and physics.
Yeah.
So you've got to do something?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you didn't necessarily have to do like a purple fur coat or whatever that is.
Yeah, that seems like that was an odd choice.
Well, speaking of Starfire, actually, the actress who plays her, Anna Diop, actually has had to shut off her Instagram comments because she's gotten so much really negative pushback. I mean, really since those leaked set photos from a couple months ago, but especially after Comic-Con, and it's been a lot of racist garbage and things. So can I just say, toxic fandom, get it together. Gross.
Yeah.
Go away.
And that's really not fair, because like, even if you have a problem with that, that's not the actress's fault.
Oh yeah.
Like yes. You want to throw blowback, throw it at the producers or the designers, whoever put her in that costume. So it's not fair to take that out on the actress.
Well, and I think some of it also is cast. Oh God, I'm not defending this, but I think people are upset that they cast a black woman when the character clearly is orange. How dare you not cast an orange-skinned alien for this role? How dare you? I mean, it's ridiculous and it's garbage, and people need to stop it.
Yeah.
So, okay, last bit of news for this week, and that is about Watchmen.
Okay.
So Comic-Con is over. We're now transitioning into Television Critics Association convention, and that brings a lot of the showrunners and things to talk to the Television Critics of America, and we're going to get a lot of news, I suspect, about shows coming up this coming week. But HBO programming chief Casey Bloys said that based on the script he read for the Watchmen pilot and based on what he's seen of the filming, he has very high hopes that the show will be successful. They haven't committed to a full season order yet, but they hope to make that decision really, really soon, as soon as they see the finished pilot. And that should be in the next couple of weeks. So we should have news about Watchmen moving forward or not really quite soon, which is exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. That is exciting. Have you ever been to TCAs?
No, the credentials for that are insane. I mean, like I write for EW.com. That would not get me through the door. No, I think I believe you have to show that you are a full-time TV writer, and not just freelance or not just, doing it part-time or whatever. So
I see.
no. I do not have the credentials for that, sadly. Because I thought about it. I just thought, it's kind of fun to have the membership, but no. I should look into it to make sure I understood the rules, but
but still, that is exciting. It does seem like Watchmen's coming. Now I just want to see it. I just want to see it. Like, if they don't pick this up, the fact that they're tugging it up this much is come on, man.
Well, and they've cast people who surely are not all in the pilot. I mean, they really, kind of like with Batwoman, like we talked about, this feels like something where the network and the people running it are already on board. So I'd be shocked if it didn't happen, truly.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
So that is it for the news.
All right. So you ready to jump into our retro pick?
Oh, absolutely.
So, Batman, the Animated Series. Episode aired September 25th, 1992. Two-Face, Part 1. Harvey Dent tried to double down on therapy after some embarrassing public outbursts. Mob boss Rupert Thorne tasked Candace with digging up dirt on Dent. Bruce Wayne was worried about Harvey and tried keeping tabs on him. Last-minute reveal: after his fiancée fainted at the sight of the scars on the left side of his face, Harvey said goodbye and moved on to his new life. Batman, the Animated Series. Episode aired September 28th, 1992. Two-Face, Part 2. Two-Face and his twin cronies started taking down fronts for Rupert Thorne's rackets, planning to take the gang lord down for good. Batman blamed himself for Harvey going bad and hoped to find the good in his friend again. Thorne had Candace pose as a cop and give a tracer to Grace Lamont in hopes that Two-Face would reach out to her. Last-minute reveal: Batman and Commissioner Gordon lamented Harvey's tragic circumstances and wished him the best of luck.
Dang it, this had a surprising amount of psychological trauma in it.
Yes.
This was a dark episode.
This is more than a kid show.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the Two-Face origin. This is what I expected to get out of Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever.
Oh, honey, no, that didn't happen. Oh no.
And like the thing that this really establishes to me is that Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent are childhood friends. They've been best friends since they were little kids. And losing Harvey in this way really takes a toll on Batman. Like, I was comparing it last night. To me, it's kind of like the way Reed Richards blames himself for Ben Grimm being the Thing. And kind of like that's the thing that one of the things that haunts him the most is that he's not able to save Harvey and bring him back, and try to convince him that he doesn't have to be Two-Face.
Well, and I have mentioned before how much I like seeing Bruce as Bruce as well as Batman, and this had a pleasing amount of Bruce for me. I mean, this was Bruce losing a friend, but also Batman trying to do his Batman thing to save him. So I really enjoyed the dynamic there. I felt like I saw Bruce's day-to-day in a way that we don't always in some of the episodes we've been watching. So I love that. Yeah.
And just to quickly go over the cast here, some of the voices who showed up. Richard Mall, who voiced Harvey Dent in the Poison Ivy episode, but I think he does an incredible job as Two-Face here. Who else is here? Murphy Cross, Mary Devon. The only actors of note who I've seen in other things were Robert Ducoy, who voiced the Doctor. Was Sergeant Warren Reed in all the original RoboCop movies.
I didn't expect to talk about RoboCop today, but there you have it.
Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees was the voice of both Min and Max, Two-Face's twin sidekicks. and Rupert Thorne, the mob boss, was voiced by John Vernon, who is immortally known as Dean Wormer from Animal House.
All right, cool. Yeah, I scrolled through the list and didn't see anybody who jumped out at me quite the same way that like a Ron Perlman did.
Yeah.
But Richard Mall was fabulous in this.
Yeah, and also like because I think this is the first episode we're doing that where you have Rupert Thorne. I think he might have been in a couple of the ones that we didn't touch on. But like Rupert Thorne is like the big mob boss in Batman the Animated Series, kind of like what Falcone and Maroni are more so in the comics, and in Gotham. But what did you think of him as an underworld boss?
I mean, he seemed pleasingly frightening. I wouldn't want to cross him.
Yeah.
I will admit it was the little details I really dug in this almost more than the big stuff. But holy cow, and the business names. Two's Company, Doubleday, Wild Deuce 2. So funny, so subtle. Loved it. Just those little touches.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I go wild for in these shows.
Yeah, and you know what it is? It does make perfect sense that Harvey would hit those places because because that's the thing Two-Face always has is dynamic. It's got to be something with the number 2 in it. But I think what's even more shocking is that Rupert Thorne would have that many fronts for his rackets with the number 2 involved.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what's going on with Thorne. Is he aware of this pattern he's falling into?
Well, I feel like he must have like 5 times as many other places where he does those things. It's just these are the ones that happen to have the number 2 involved.
Yeah. How many pies does he have his fingers in? My gosh.
Yeah.
So Kevin Conroy has completely won me over, and I think other than Michael Keaton may be my favorite Batman now, with I think it was the end of the first half of this 2-parter, his very restrained no. Like, you could have bellowed that to the heavens, your angst at your friend getting half his face seared off in an explosion. But Kevin Conroy, like, pulls it back to the sad lament, restrained, and, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Just the interpretation of that, the acting job Kevin Conroy does is incredible.
Yeah, and you don't get a lot of him in this episode. It really is Harvey-centric. But when he shows up, it is so effective. I mean, it doesn't really become a Batman story until the second episode. But yeah.
And I like I was a little off kilter. Like, why is Harvey lashing out like this? He's got to be a better politician than that. So it really did. I didn't know the psychological underpinnings of his trauma. And so it was interesting for me to see that unfold. I also have to say, incredible props to the show. That's a surprisingly strong mental health message, with Bruce encouraging Harvey to get help, go to therapy, seek assistance for his issues. It's just not a message you often see. I mean, like, in the real world, men don't get the mental health help they need because it's seen as weak. It shouldn't be, but it is. And so that this show in the early 90s was saying, oh man, yeah, no, get help. Genuinely, it will help you. You need to do this. I thought was really powerful and really cool. So I was pleased to see that. I also love to see with Lee Tompkins last week, 2 weeks ago, and then with Harvey's therapist this week, you've got some cool older women in positions of power and expertise. And I don't know, this show's really doing it for me. Yay, Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
On the flip side, Big Bad Harv has not aged well.
No.
Big Bad Harv, does he make Grace call him that in bed? He does, doesn't he? Big Bad Harv.
I don't even want to know. I mean, the fact that like a couple of weeks ago he almost got killed by someone he was going to propose to, and in that time between the 2 episodes, he's found someone else who he's already been engaged to, and is just like holding back the wedding date.
I didn't even blink. He's clearly a serial monogamist. I know guys like that. Nope. Yep. Of course you're engaged to this one. You were engaged to the last one. The other one almost killed you, and you were fine with it. But no, we see you. We see you, Harvey.
Also, when is it up to the guy to pick the wedding date?
Oh yeah, no, that was garbage. What? I don't think that was a very healthy relationship for Grace. Honey, I'm going to announce our wedding date. Does Grace get to know? Does she get a say in it, or are you just picking? What if she had a manicure appointment that day? You don't know. Ugh.
Yeah,
Harvey.
Is it going to conflict with her spin class? Is that what you're worried about?
Do you know how hard? You know what the wait list is for that class? She can't reschedule that. Also, what's with the doctor and his medical staff who have no poker face? He takes off the bandages and they're just like, my God, he's hideous. No, surely you had better training than that in medical school.
Well, in all fairness, he is really ugly. He is really scary. And I remember the cliffhanger at the end of part 1, when he shows Grace his face. As a 5-year-old, I was incredibly scared in that moment. I'm sorry, I was 4 at the time. I was, oh my God, that's another image from this that just seared onto my brain. You know, just the image of Harvey's face. Oh my God. And yeah. I mean, it's definitely not as scary now, but I think dramatically it's incredibly effective.
It is truly a hideous monster mask. I mean, it's impressively grotesque, I think. Although I will say, when he tries to cover it up with that white mask, he looks a little bit like he's in a KKK uniform, and that's actually worse somehow. So that didn't help, Harv. That didn't help at all. Ooh.
Yeah.
I do think at one point Harvey said, "Did I do that?" And in 1992, I feel like they really missed an opportunity for the "Did I do that?" Like, I don't know how they held themselves back, but they did. I watched this episode with my friend Tanya, who is an occasional writer into the show, sends us emails, is our cultural sensitivity expert. So she watched that with me tonight because she's staying with me this week. And she about spit out her drink when Batman told Harvey, "Hey, friend, let's let the law handle this." I'm sorry. Did Batman just tell Harvey to let the law handle it? Batman. So Tanya was properly horrified. I agree with her. Physician, heal thyself. Also, I love that Batman, at one point when he was grappling, I think it was in the back half of the 2-parter, with a bad guy, grabbed his cape and pulled him back. The bad guy did. Batman, that cape is bad news. Did Dollar Bill teach us nothing in Watchmen? The cape's going to get you killed, Batman.
Yeah. I think it's a liability here. Although he does use it to effectiveness in certain places. Maybe not in this episode, but
I think let's be honest, he uses it because it cuts an imposing silhouette when he's brooding on rooftops. That's why he does it.
Yeah.
We all know that, Batman. We know that. But no, this was a sophisticated entry, I thought. I mean, it was. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't the flashy, like, clay face. Oh my gosh, look at all the faces he does. But I enjoyed it so much on a completely different level, and this cartoon continues to impress and entertain.
Yeah, and it does remind me how I wish Gotham had handled Harvey Dent's character differently. Like, I feel like he should have been the same age as Bruce. He should have been like a best friend who could have hung on through the whole adventure.
I would have loved that, just because I think I'd like to see Bruce have a friend. You know, it's great that he has Selena, but I think it would have been very cool for Bruce to have a same age friend who could have done also the same kind of, like, either gut check, you're being a complete monster, you know, this past season or what have you. So yeah, that seems like a missed opportunity to me.
Yeah. All right. So
okay, Ed, tell us what's next. What's next?
I think we're at the end, friend.
What's the next episode?
Oh, that's right. The next episode.
Yeah, tell us.
So the next episode we're going to tackle is volume. If you're watching on Amazon Prime, it's Volume 1, Episode 24, Fear of Victory.
Ooh. Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm always faced with a dilemma. I like watching these right before we record so it's fresh, but I also, just after talking about an episode, want to rush out and watch it right away. So I always have to battle with myself. Do I watch it right now? Or do I wait? Or do I do both?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah. So I think now it's the time for the winners of the week. And
I got mine. You want me to go?
Go for it.
My winner of the week, found object bathroom weaponry. TC and Tulip in this week's Preacher had an epic fight in a bathroom where they started picking up random objects and fighting each other with them. Toilet brush, hair remover. At one point, he put a toilet paper roll on a hairdryer and set it on fire. I don't know, man. But TC shouts, "Oh, found object bathroom weaponry," and then he rolls with it, and it was amazing. Found object bathroom weaponry. May you use it in your lives this week.
I hope you don't have to.
But I mean, I want you to be prepared. Babies, beautiful babies, I just want you to be ready. If somebody comes at you in a bathroom, look around, be aware of what you have to defend yourself.
Well, my winner is very similar. It's cigarettes. Which is also a household item that is creatively used, and it's one of those weird. It was one of those weird sequences where he knows what he's doing, but we don't, and it's letting all that water in and trying to light that sucker with all that moisture around. I mean, the thing went out once or twice. That was scary, but it
gave me palpitations.
But it was a great scene. It was a great scene. Yeah, and I knowing how much my friend Bill smokes, I could see if this was from the comics, I could see maybe he'll use this as justification. Hey man, I just got to be prepared. You never know when you're gonna find yourself at the bottom of the ocean in a coffin, getting oxygen through a generator.
I mean, it happens to so many of us.
Yeah. So, thanks everybody. Thank you for listening, and I think that's going to be the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
Yeah, and follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. We haven't got any in a while. Send us an email. Shoot it. Come on. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice, and check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!